My name is Luigi Infanzon. This is TCN4081, Telecommunication Network Security, and I'm going to be talking about secure communications. So, what is a secure communication? Communication security is the prevention of unauthorized access to telecommunications traffic or to any written information that is transmitted or transferred. For example, cryptographic security, emission security, physical security, transmission security. So one of the journals I read was Secure Communications and Protected Data for a Internet of Things smart toy platform. So basically, the Edusier ecosystem, which is a company that provides education programs and also creates smart toys, their ecosystem consists of several toys, and the design is based on one or more sensors, such as optocouplers, force sensors, accelerometers, actuators, buzzers, LEDs, etc., and a microcontroller with low processing capacity and low working memory. So, how do they work? Basically, the smart toys form the main components. So, smart toys like the ball or cubes, pegboards. In this case, it was the tower of cubes, and basically the main components of the system, like for example a tower of smart cubes. The data collector is a module, which this is a data collector. The data collector is a module that retrieves and stores data from the smart cubes through a personal area network formed between them, kind of like the network used in Bluetooth devices. And subsequently, these data are packaged and marked with an experiment code and are sent to the control element called the Edusier native app, which would be this right here. And once the data leaves the collector, their sensitivity is higher, as they are already associated with the child through a unique numeric identifier. Um, the Edusier native app is installed on an Android tablet and is an interface with which the professionals conduct each experiment. After each experiment, the application receives a child's data from the collector. The exchange of data between the collector and the tablet is performed through an informer's connection to a Wi-Fi access point. Subsequently, the expert who has conducted the batch of experiments connects to the Edusier children delay screening system, also known as CDSS, to upload the data obtained for subsequent analysis. At this point, the data are the same as in the collector. The CDSS is a server where data is collected and analyzed using artificial intelligence techniques. So, what are the security risks? The security risks in smart toys could potentially be considered the weakest link in the platform due to the hardware restrictions. So, for example, threat number one could be a fake collector that could send false messages like a start or a stop message, depending on the nature of the message. These actions could damage the service. Therefore, it could be considered a DOS attack. Such messages can be blocked by adding a message authentication code, or also known as MAC, generated by means of a mechanism based on a hash function. Another threat could be a fake collector, which could capture smart toy data messages. This is an attack on the confidentiality of the data generated by the smart toy sensors. Data messages can be protected by using a code authentication generator and an encryption mechanism based on a symmetric key. Now, security techniques in the data collector to prevent this from happening. All data received from toys are securely stored in encrypted files using a new random key for each experiment. Now, this encryption is based on a symmetric encryption scheme called Fernet. Fernet is part of the Python cryptography library and is built on top of AES in CBC mode using a 128-bit key. The key is generated randomly in the collector for each experiment and must thus be securely shared with the Edusier CDSS to decrypt the files. Now, security risk in the collector. The data collector is a vulnerable module in the platform because it temporarily stores all the data generated by a set of experiments until they are transferred to the tablet app and ultimately to the CDSS server. Another threat here could be an attacker could use an API from a fake app or any REST client to gain access to the data or modify the configuration of the collector. Another threat could be through the API or by gaining physical access to the device. The attacker could obtain the data files generated. And another one could be an attacker could capture the messages between the app and the collector to obtain sensitive data. To prevent unauthorized access to this information, it is necessary to establish controlled access to the application in such a way that only registered users can access the system.